Hello, YouTube Gallifrey here, and welcome to my long-awaited review, which I announced in October 2016, of the comedy sketch which came out around the time of the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who, the Five-ish Doctors Reboot, which is all about Peter Davison, Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy doing their very best to get a part on the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who, because Stephen Moffat won't let them. So without further ado, enjoy! So the Five-ish Doctors Reboot. Superb, absolutely superb. It is really funny, really good, really entertaining. The Five-ish Doctors Reboot is brilliant. So yes, I'm going to do this like my review on Genesis of the Daleks, where I'm going to go through the plot, the positives, the negatives, and give a final conclusion. So the Five-ish Doctors Reboot is about Peter Davison, Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy trying to get a part on the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who, as Stephen Moffat won't let them. Yes, this actually did happen. Stephen Moffat didn't bring back those three Doctors. He instead brought back the Zygons, who no one really cared about, as the Zygons, they're not really an iconic Doctor Who villain. They appeared in one 1970s story. It was a bit of a random choice to bring back, really, just like bringing back Nardole for Series 10. Why bring back Nardole? I don't know. Why not bring back John Barrowman, who played Captain Jack Harkness, as he has been begging the BBC for years to bring Captain Jack back to Doctor Who. So I don't know. Stephen Moffat, I just don't understand him. But before I go off subject and rant about Nardole, who I do not like to rant about because I always go on and on, talking about the Five-ish Doctors Reboot. So yes, like I said, they want a part on the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who. So they set up protests, they phone Stephen Moffat, which I find really funny when he deletes the contacts of the three Doctors. Just really funny. They break into the BBC set, they go into Doctor Who Experience, they think that Doctor Who still filmed at the studio in London, and then it turns out to be in Cardiff. They break on set, dress up as Dalek, dress up as Zygons. They are so desperate to get a part in the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who. And yes, in this comedy sketch, there is an absolute ton of cameos from people like Frank Skinner, Peter Jackson, who directs The Hobbit, Ian McKellen. Loads and loads of cameos. There's a cameo from Matt Smith, David Tennant, Peter Davison's sons, Colin Baker's wife, and yeah, loads of classic companions. So yes, onto positives of the Five-ish Doctors Reboot. So positives of the Five-ish Doctors Reboot, and yes, there is a ton of positives for this comedy sketch. The first being, it's really funny. Yeah, I laughed all the way through when I first watched it, and I still find it funny to this day, because it is hilarious, absolutely hilarious. An example of it being hilarious was at the beginning, when Peter Davison is watching Doctor Who with his kids, and he tells the kids that he may not be featured in the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who, and it might just be Matt Smith and David Tennant. And then they cheer, because they don't want to see their dad in the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who, and yeah, they're thrilled that he's not in it because they don't like him as the Doctor, and I find that really funny that they don't like him, and Peter Davison is just shocked. His facial expressions when they cheer is just hilarious. And another funny scene would be is when they're getting chased around the Doctor Who set, when they get dressed up as Daleks trying to get apart. And then a really funny scene, the last scene, is when the Dalek scene they are in gets cut. So they had all that work breaking onto the Doctor Who set, and then their scene gets cut. That is just so funny. Another funny scene would be is when they're protesting and John Barrowman comes up to them and says, you know, the film at Cardiff? They had no idea that Doctor Who no longer uses the old London studio and they now film on the other side of the country in Cardiff. So yes, on to other positives. Quotable, yeah, this is very quotable. I know a lot of quotes from the Five Doctors reboot, and yeah, it uses a lot of Doctor Who quotes from past adventures, which I find great. Another positive would be the cameos. There are so many cameos in the Five Doctors reboot, mainly from past companions in Doctor Who, but also from big stars such as Oscar-winning Peter Jackson, Ian McKellen, Frank Skinner, Sean Pertwee, and a few others. There's loads of cameos. I can't count them all. Go through it and tell me how many cameos there are in the Five Doctors reboot, because there are a lot of cameos in this sketch, including one from Stephen Moffat, Matt Smith, David Tennant, yeah, and a lot of other cameos. Another positive would be the Easter eggs. There are so many Easter eggs to Doctor Who in the Five Doctors reboot, because it is pretty much a Doctor Who spin-off and more or less Doctor Who. A positive would be the what's it called? Generally, it's really good, the Five Doctors reboot. That's pretty much all I have to say. It's funny, hilarious, and great. Packed full of Easter eggs, packed full of cameos. It is so good, the Five Doctors reboot. I would strongly recommend it. Any other positives? No, I don't think so. But yeah, it's great, the Five Doctors reboot. Absolutely superb. So moving on to negative switch, there is a bit more than my review on Genesis the Daleks, which go and check out by the way if you haven't seen it. But not a ton of negatives. There's less negatives than positives. So negatives of the Five-ish Doctors reboot, there aren't many, but don't let these negatives put you off watching the Five-ish Doctors reboot. It's still hilariously funny, hilariously good, hilariously amazing. So, negatives. The first negative being the lack of Paul McGann. Now, in the opening sequence for the Five Doctors reboot, it said Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and Paul McGann. But yet, Paul McGann was only in one scene of the Five Doctors reboot. Stephen Moffat, he had more scenes than Paul McGann. Why not put Stephen Moffat in Paul McGann's place in the opening titles? I don't know. It's probably just a scam to encourage people to watch it, basically. But don't let that put you off. Just go and watch it if you haven't already. Another negative would be, why the Five-ish Doctors reboot? Why not the Four-ish Doctors reboot? As there were only 4 Doctors really trying to reboot. Even 3 if you exclude Paul McGann. I don't include Paul McGann as part of this special. I only include Peter Davison, Colin Baker, and Sylvester McCoy. Paul McGann's more of the outsider. So the Four-ish Doctors reboot, or the Three-ish Doctors reboot, it should have been called. Then again, the Five-ish Doctors reboot sounds better. And looking back on it, it is based on the classic Doctor Who title, The Five Doctors. Another negative would be when Peter Davison is watching Doctor Who with his family at the beginning. It's showing the snowman on Christmas Day 2012, and when the ice governess attacks, it cuts straight through the credits, which didn't happen in real life. There were a lot more scenes after the ice governess attack. So yeah, they're my 3 negatives of the Five-ish Doctors reboot. Please let me know if you have any negatives for the Five-ish Doctors reboot, and let me know if you have any positives. Please put in the comments below. So, the Five-ish Doctors reboot, brilliant comedy sketch, which was made for the 50th anniversary special of Doctor Who. One of my favourite things to celebrate Doctor Who's 50th anniversary special. Just brilliant, really funny, and really great. I love the Five-ish Doctors reboot. So quotable, so funny, full of cameos, and yeah, amazing, absolutely definitely go and check out the Five-ish Doctors reboot. It is absolutely amazing and really, really funny. Definite 9.5 out of 10 from me. And yes, please go and see it if you already haven't. It's available on the Doctor Who website for free, absolutely free. If you obtain this in a physical format, you would have to get the very expensive Doctor Who 50th Anniversary box set, which features Time to Doctor, Day of the Doctor. Yeah, limited edition set, only limited to 5,000. I would strongly recommend going for the digital way of getting it on the Doctor Who website. So, please let me know what you think of the Five-ish Doctors reboot in the comments below. Do you like it or do you not? Or haven't you seen it yet? And stay tuned for my next video, which is my review. No, I said review again. How many times do I have to refilm this? But I'm not refilming it. It's my top 10 Sherlock episodes, a video I've been planning on doing in a long time. So stay tuned for that. And yes, I am doing shout outs. So if you want a shout out, all you have to do is say you're subscribed in the comments below. And please subscribe if you already haven't. So, until the next time, goodbye.